Good evening, people of the world. It's evening. It is evening. That's why I said good evening. But it is evening where I'm at the moment. But I just felt a little spontaneous. I wanted to turn on the camera and talk some tech. This is a thing I've been thinking about doing for a while. I called it something, which I don't remember. So that's great. Tech talk. I guess we could call it that. I'll come up with a name. Doesn't matter. Really, what it is about is me just unscripted, taking a look at some things that are happening in the world, or that are going to happen, or that have happened, have happened, and just speaking speaking my mind on it. Just a little. Think of it like a bit like a low podcast. I like the podcast form. It's just more human in many ways. You get to know me a little bit better. I get to know you a little bit better. I don't, but maybe over time, who knows? But yeah. Now there will be some cuts because you're gonna see me sitting on the computer trying to fucking, look through my subjects and stuff like that. So it's not like, but whatever. It doesn't matter. Long form, just chill. Cup of tea. This is just old water, but you get the idea. Get the idea. I gotta remember to look over here because that's where you guys are, so I don't look at myself too much. We got Barack Obama in the background. A little drawing I drew recently. I thought it looked cute. So, anyways, let me think. What do I want to talk about? Well, I guess first of all we could talk about the iPhone that's coming out soon, September, right? iPhone 15 and 15 Pro. It seems like they're going full dynamic island now with the design, which is nice, refreshing. First time the iPhone as a whole is going to be notchless, which is crazy to say that in 2023 after all those years of it being like, it's pretty much the only one out there that's still got that design going. And it's Apple, it's iPhone, it's statemental, it's design. You can't hate on the design of iPhones, clearly not. And I don't do it either personally. But looking from the outside, it is kind of interesting to think about like how design evolves, And I think more and more in recent years we're sort of expecting change and we sort of expect our next time is going to be smaller, next time it's going to be gone, next time it's going to be bigger and greater, and it's kind of funny with smartphones especially because it has pretty much plateaued the last couple of years or even more in terms of design because it has sort of reached that point where it's matured pretty much. There's not a whole lot more that we can really see. Cameras keep getting better and better and it's good and all that stuff. Screens getting a little bit better. Processors are getting better and stuff like that. But I mean, there's a reason why budget phones in the Android world are pretty popular. Mid-range phone or mid-range phone, sorry. Because it's like back in the day, phones had to be like there was a pretty good idea. It was a pretty good idea to buy a flagship top tier phone because it evolved so quickly, and budget phones were just kind of trash, and the cost of things was just more expensive. Today it has evolved so that the top tier phones are just like they're just so much more phone than anybody fucking needs, or not everyone, but like most people are not going to use that at all, right? One thing you could say is cameras. You put cameras in the hands of a lot of people, and that's nice, and it improves stuff. It's not necessary, but it's nice and stuff. But anyways, it's gotten so great that you can take a good amount of steps down from that level, and then have a phone that's almost like equivalent to the top level phone a couple years ago. Not literally, but like comparatively to that, and it'll be completely fine. It'll satisfy with the needs you might have with a phone, right? Which is also kind of boring. I gotta be honest with you. I remember a time when it was exciting every year, like every fucking couple of months, with new phones that were not just because today is like even a company like Samsung used to be the company that really changed things up every year, like brand new design, brand new sort of breakthrough, something new, weird technology. It might not have matured quite yet. So it would be kind of working a little as in the beginning and stuff like that. Apple is the type of company that'll wait till it matures, but Samsung would be on the cutting edge type of thing. And even they have really adapted this more toned down, mature, chill, use the same design, almost Apple-ish strategy, which I'm not even sure is does it work with Samsung? Isn't Samsung kind of like what people choose to have that cutting edge excitement, new something? I've read some people recently, talking about how Samsung has been Appleified, and that's why they don't like it, or in the sense that, well, in the case that Samsung gets Appleified, why don't you just choose Apple? Then you could ask yourself, because Apple is really fucking good, but you might want to have some more toy type phones, which is why you're a phone enthusiast and you're running Android and stuff like that. You get those new breakthrough things, technologies type of thing that's exciting. iPhones are boring, you go there. But now if Samsung also becomes boring, then why are you there? We still got other phones. We got other phones that are more experimental and stuff like that. We got folding phones as well. Samsung is doing that too, but yeah. I mean, that's a bit of an the subject was iPhone 15 Pro. I mean, I just read it's on my screen here, and I've been looking a little bit at it. Some renders, some rumors, super slim bezels, a little bit more rounded corners. Apparently some pretty substantial camera upgrades, which is, I'm interested to see what that is supposed to be, since it was pretty big last year with sensor updates, right, to 48 megapixel. We'll see. And then the USB-C though is interesting. I'm pretty sure Apple would have never done it if they weren't absolutely forced to do it by the whole European Union. But it's a pretty big market for them as well, so they kind of have to, and it would be weird. I mean, we still don't know, but I really don't think it's going to be USB-C Europe and Lightning America. I guess there is actually a chance, though. I guess there's a chance, actually, now that I think about it. American markets, they just run it like that, as long as they're allowed. There's actually, I haven't really looked too much into like leaks about that, but my guess would be they just go USB-C. It's a good thing. It's a good upgrade. You can get faster charging, faster, data transferring and stuff like that, and just, is the sort of USB-C is a good port. I mean, there's a reason why it's been so widely adopted and stuff. And the actual port just stays the same whilst the technology gets updated. So that's good. But yeah, dynamic islands on all iPhones at that point is gonna make it like the thing that everybody has, right? So we'll probably see some more software updates going that way. Some more apps that are optimized for that stuff. And I'm not on the iPhone right now, so I don't actually have that much hands-on experience with it. So there might be more apps than I actually know at this point that integrated with it pretty well. But yeah. That's iPhone, I think. And apropos, that's not what you say. And speaking of dynamic islands, I also witnessed the launch of the Nothing Phone 2 recently, which is interesting as well. I like what they're doing over there. And I don't know, the dynamic island just kind of reminds me of the glyph interface, the new update to that on the back of the Nothing Phone 2. The way it has delivery. I can't speak right now. You know what it is? Uber driver things where you can see how close they are and stuff like that. And also other things like the alarm counting down and stuff like that. It's the back of the phone, it's a different thing, it's a different being, but it's still interesting and I like it, and it really was refreshing. I kind of, that did surprise me with the Nothing Phone 2. I was kind of thinking that they might have skipped out and not done a whole lot of stuff with it, and just sort of made a little, bigger processor and a little bit better screen and stuff like that. But I was actually positively surprised. They moved the camera cutout to the middle of the phone as well, which is nice. They should have done it from the beginning. It's just much more aesthetic. It does look, however, just like a lot of other phones now, though. Samsung and all that stuff. It's a little bit more generic looking from the front. You can't really recognize it that well. But then it's a good thing that it's so recognizable from the back. And funnily enough, Nothing Phone 2 is one of those phones that, it's recognizable from the back, but a lot of phones you just wear a cover on it, case on it, and that kind of ruins that. It's hard to identify it. But because Nothing Phone is designed the way it is, people, they either have it caseless or they have it with a transparent case, and in that sense it's still very recognizable, even more than the iPhone. Actually, I would even say, you see that from a mile away. So that's pretty effective as well. Now I've been thinking about it a little bit actually recently, how because I've been watching some interviews and podcasts with Carl Pei, and just I'm very curious to see like what his plans are, what his future visions and stuff like that. Long-term goals and stuff is with nothing is it just like a bunch of marketing and then just an alright phone and some spaz and just making some money and like and it could be, and it would be fine, and I invested in the company, and even if it was just that, I would probably still get some good return on my money. Not that I invested a whole lot, but just something. But I actually do think from hearing a lot of what he has to say and just following along on Twitter and stuff like that, or X as it's called now, which we're going to talk about also in a bit. But from following along with his with content that's come out with him, I get the feeling that he really has like a serious long-term plan, and he's gathering up a good team, and he often speaks about like there's a long-term plan and there's like a short-term plan, and how with the software updates on the phone 2B, now they're sort of coming more to themselves with the software look and design and features and stuff like that, which are pretty cool. And he recently said in an interview that they have a lot more actually that they want to do, but they're going to sort of gradually introduce it so it doesn't overwhelm the consumer and stuff like that, which I think is very smart, but also exciting that it seems like they have greater plans for this whole thing. And he also speaks about like they're looking to reach that iPhone moment as Apple did, and how, because he was asked if earbuds and phones, they don't, they're pretty, first of all, it's a tough market to enter, but also they're kind of like, not the most exciting, wild thing. What can you really reinvent there? And, maybe folding phones, but he has said himself, Carl Pei, that he's not really probably going to do that. But he says that, just like Apple started making computers and a bunch of other companies, they sort of enter the space and start, building a business that's sustainable and stuff like that, with products that might not reinvent a bunch of stuff, but they're just good products. And then once they reach a state where they're known, they got good products, they got a good arsenal of products, and they got money flowing. They're starting to make money on the phones now, he said recently, whereas with the phone 1 they didn't make money. They were fucking, but they're starting to actually get some surplus of money from this. And but then what he says is that then eventually, hopefully, they might be able to make their iPhone moment with something we don't even know what is, and they might have some plans, in the cooker. That might be cooking, but who knows? But that's exciting, and it's just interesting to hear him talk about it like that, which makes me excited about it. It makes me think it's not just some generic, highly branded, marketed, but also just basic whatever phone like anything else with a little light on the back. Like it seems like it is a pretty basic phone. It's a good phone though. Arguably, I think it's the best Android phone, honestly. Right next to the Pixel, they're sort of, it's either that or nothing phone, right? In my opinion. But so it's a good phone, but they're gonna really take that serious, obviously, and keep making those phones, keep making those earbuds, and maybe do a watch, or maybe do a laptop is I don't know. They're gonna do that. That's a whole other thing. Then they're gonna, it's gonna run Windows and stuff like that. It's a whole thing. But yeah, another thing that would be really exciting to me, because they're still run by Android, and that's why I'm actually drawn towards Pixel, because I like the idea of company having control over both the hardware and the software, not in terms of monopoly, having monopoly on the market. That just kind of sucks, like Apple does in a way, or it doesn't suck, but it's just, it is not the best for the competition and stuff like that. But anyways, so Pixel, Google have that because they own Android, but every other Android manufacturer, they have a limited control over what they can really do, And it would be extremely exciting if nothing actually made their own OS that they have full control over, But obviously you can't just do that if you're a nobody, because who the fuck's going to make apps for it and stuff like that? You don't just do that. But you could imagine, I don't know what kind of contracts Android manufacturers, OEMs sign with Android, but you could imagine, let's say like 4 years into the 3, 4 or 5 years into the future, when they're really established, they got a bunch of consumers market share of maybe, I don't know, let's say fucking 15% or something, 20% in America, or maybe worldwide. India is a country where they're really, blowing up and stuff like that. If they get a certain amount of market share and a lot of users, users that are, that upgrade every year, and they're really fucking, I don't know, what's the word now, man? I don't know. They love the company. They're, committed to the company, I guess you could say. At that point, wouldn't it be able for them to just say, all right, we're gonna transition now into our own OS, and we're gonna make sure to have, the majority of the apps, all the important apps, maybe minus a few ones. Maybe do some sort of middle ground thing where you can run Android apps on there. It's weird, right? Because how do you really build a new OS from the ground up? Like, well, how does it? What is? You don't just do that. But I think I hear is that the biggest issue is not really so much in the software creation of it. It's it's the apps availability on it. Although I've also heard other people talk about how it's I don't know, man. I don't know enough about it. I'm gonna be honest with you. We saw Huawei trying to do it with their other thing, but it also kind of still runs Android though. Kind of, I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. But what I'm just saying is that that would really be something that would make it a truly strong player in the industry if they had their own OS. Yeah, that'd be interesting. But that's a nothing phone. That's a nothing phone. Anyways, so. But yeah, cool. Oh, just a quick one about this. I really was surprised, positively surprised about the software as well. They got some widgets going on the lock screen, similar to iOS, which is really interesting and very nice. Android has been the same looking for a couple of years now, and seems to still be looking like that for Android 14, so a whole year more, with not a lot of new stuff, which is kind of just boring. So it's very refreshing to see that they're still running with the clean, sort of stock Android type of vibe, but with nice features. They got the gray tone, grayscale home feed icon pack thing, which now goes system-wide, so it covers all apps, makes it really look clean. And also it's about addictive prevention, consciousness type of thing, which I really like too. Trying to make it so that you use your phone a little bit more consciously and stuff like that. I like that as well. He's talking about that, or the company's talking about that as well. Like that's the priority and stuff. So that's really nice. Yeah. All right. Next, we're gonna talk about xvideos.com. No, Twitter, X, formerly known as Twitter. So now it's just x.com. I have a lot of thoughts on this as well, but I'm gonna, maybe not go into the hella depth of it right now. But just to talk some on it. I've been following Twitter and Elon Musk for that sake pretty fucking closely for the last couple of years. I've been very interested to see, since he bought Twitter, my interest really peaked because it's so new and it's so, it's like it's just exciting, man. It's just exciting. I can't speak. I don't know how else to explain it. It's exciting. That's what it is. I see a lot of people just saying it's dumb. He's ruining Twitter. It's an ugly logo. Why would you do that? Twitter has so much brand value type of thing. The tweets and everything. And I get that. I get those points. But really, for the people. I feel like a lot of people that say that haven't really looked into what it is that's driving him. From a bigger picture type thing with X, which is a company he actually tried to start back in the 90s, I think, which then turned into PayPal, which got sold to Amazon, and that kind of chapter got shut down and put on hold until now, where he wanted to put that vision into existence, which is X, the everything app, is how he describes it. And it's essentially a town square type Twitter situation, social media with freedom being highly prioritized. But he also wanted to make it a money platform. You can think of it a little bit like WhatsApp and not WhatsApp. What is it? WeChat in China, which is an app you can both do transactions and messages and social media and updates from the government, all kind of things in one app. Which I guess sounds kind of monopolistic, depending on how you angle it. But I'm excited I always get excited when I hear him talk about money and finance and economy and what money is and all that stuff, and how the systems of money, like the actual software systems of money today are pretty fucking outdated and running on but just old, simpler code, and transactions are slow and cumbersome and all that stuff. And really, he wants just to make money better. Like just make money better, and he said himself that the place, like I don't remember what exactly he said, but he was talking about like if he makes a platform where the money is as easy and where you get the most benefits from having your money, that's where the money of the world is going to be, which is logical. If it's the best place in terms of speediness, transactions, security. What do you call that stuff? Getting money for investing, return, whatever you call that, fees from having money in the bank. I don't know what the word is. Let me see. Oh yeah, I just had to look the word up. It's interests. That's the word. Anyways, makes sense, if you got a place where you get the most benefits from having your money in many different ways, both as a consumer and companies, then it seems pretty logical that that's where the money's going to flow, unless there are other more, higher powers at play, obviously. But, just general logic. And it's interesting. And also, on top of that, I just really like what we're seeing with free speech and, allowing old people back on the platform, allowing pretty much anything, except from some, like, at one point I saw he banned some sort of, I think it was like a pedophilia flag or some weird fucking shit, which I think pretty much everyone agrees that you should just ban that. But there's like a very clear and also transparent, he was transparent about, banning that. So in that sense, it's fine, But other than that example, it's really just completely free speech. Everybody can say whatever the fuck they want. There are still rules. You can't be openly planning a fucking terrorist strike or something. There are gonna be certain things, but generally there's not gonna be any weird censoring or any weird like pick and choose or shadow banning or some dumb shit like that. And he's making a very he's describing news media companies on Twitter. He's stamping them as like government funded, and just having a bunch of information it's clearly just factual. Everybody can go read about it on the websites and in the terms of service of these, of the company's own website and stuff like that. But they're still trying to hide it, and he's just there like, nah, transparency. We want to. You can never have full truth, but you want to just prioritize to get as close to the full truth as possible, and to get the most nuanced and full complex view into things, anything, which is really nice. And I mean, I don't know, I see a lot of people somewhere, like just, or all kinds of places, just saying he's just ruining it and it's just stupid, and why is he doing all this. And I've also had personally friends and stuff like that questioning his motives. Why would he buy Twitter? Is he really a good guy? Does he just want to make money and stuff like that? And I just think it's like, you really just have to look at the fucking even just in the acquisition of Twitter, how he's like down fucking 20 billion or something. It was a terrible investment in that sense. So he clearly has bigger motives, and it's pretty fucking transparent. If you really dig down into it, you'll see that it's an overall happening for the positive. The whole Twitterfy situations, I've read through one of those fucking hours of reading. Very interesting. You get all the fucking details, everything. It's very interesting, and I love the transparency, man. It's just, I think it's probably one of the most important things that's happened to humanity in a while, I feel like. And I might sound a little crazy, but I'm just like, it is extremely good for the fucking world to have a big open social media that everybody's on, and everybody is on it. That's the thing, right? But that's also, programmed in a way where it's optimizing for truth, And the algorithm as well has also been open source, so you can see how the fuck, like, all the backroom machines are running it. So there's no freaky stuff going on, And you can always take the angle and say, well, what if there's still something we don't know, and but you gotta have some fucking faith. And I feel like, again, if you really dig deep down into it, you'll probably find that it's actually for the better, Yeah, Twitter, X, cool. What do I think about the logo? I do think it's not very aesthetically pleasing. I have to say. The name is also, sounds like a porn site kind of, but I will say with that, it's supposed to be X, the everything app. It's the vision. I respect it. It's just the black X logo though. It's just maybe a little bit boring, or it's fine though. It doesn't really matter that much. It's about the app, it's about the user experience, about the whole thing. You'll survive. Logos change, motherfucker. It is interesting that it's black and white, so it's less candy for the eyes. It's less, it triggers your brain less to be like, it's not so colorful and bright and screaming at you. It's just kind of it's a little bit more like toned down. I actually like that, you know. My brain, part of my brain misses the old Twitter logo, because it was just, there's something about just clicking that blue thing, right? Something wired in our brains. But now it's like this kind of feels like annoying and disappointing. But if I really just tap out my fucking primal brain and go into my cortex and think a little bit, sorry, I'm gonna look there, think a little bit. It's nice. It's for the better. I like it. But yeah, that's it. X, Twitter, cool. All right. Anything else we wanted to be talking about? All right, something I want to talk about is AI, and this is going to be a little bit more of a general talk. I haven't done this style video before, so if I had done it the last year, I would have talked probably a lot about AI, because I'm very consumed by the subject. It's very interesting. So I can't just talk about everything at once right now, but maybe just give like a summary of where I'm standing on it, you know, give us some of my insight. I guess you're here for my insight since you clicked on my face, right? And you're sitting here with me, very cozy. Cheers. So, I've been following AI pretty closely, and it's interesting. It's interesting. There's a lot to say. Let me just see if I can compile some of the stuff down to some more simple stuff. We've seen the advent of ChatGPT in the recent year, which is very interesting. And I feel like that's really what, you know, flipped the switch on. That's really what turned everything on. There was stuff like this going on in the background maybe even a decade, you know, slowly building up. Google is one of those AI mega sharks who have got a bunch of technology. You've seen a bunch of AI stuff in the Pixel phones throughout the years, which is part of the reason why I really liked those phones, because there's just something magical about them. And now we're more and more seeing how magical AI feels. And that actually made me think, well, that's why the Pixels feel magical. It's been hard to explain. There's just something about it. Smart. It's just super smart. It's actually the AI stuff. It's the type of thing where it just knows you. It just seems to, you know, suggest certain things or set, or like, there's just something like beyond intuitive about their way they work. And not only a Pixel, just also all the Google services, Gmail, Google Docs, YouTube, all that stuff. It's nice. Google, Chrome. But yeah, now we're seeing that coming out in a bunch of stuff. We're seeing magical technology. We're seeing magical technology at this point, you know? Texting with ChatGPT is magical at times. At other times, it's less magical. But it's definitely magical at times. We've seen AI image generators. We've seen a bunch of AI tools just coming up. What else have we seen? Chatbots, you know, personality-based chatbots, which is kind of creepy, I'm not gonna lie, but cool nonetheless. Wild stuff. I remember, you know, I remember like a bunch of years ago, it would be the type of thing that I would kind of dream about almost, even as a kid, like having this, you know, type of, you know, artificial robot thing that you could talk to, and it would actually be super smart and understand what the fuck you were saying, even if you didn't come off super clear or you made some grammatical errors or some stuff. There's a sound in my kitchen. I gotta remember to look there. And it would just be sort of like this utopian dream that you wouldn't really, like sci-fi type of thing. You wouldn't really, like how normal humans, you just don't really have the ability to think of this being possible. Even the fucking creators of these language models were, as from my understanding of it, were kind of surprised sometimes at the behavior and how good they all of a sudden became after they implemented a bunch of coding logic into the learning programs and stuff like that. The logic in these language models is really what makes the difference, I think. Now they're logical. You can speak to them, and they will almost make you sound kind of, or feel kind of like you're sounding unintelligent yourself. Like they're so smart and so sharp, and so they know so much. They have so much information and stuff like that. And really, I think, you know, it's not to go too deep into AI, because there's a lot of stuff to talk about, but we can't get into all of it now. But I think what's really super exciting is this ability to talk to the internet, talk to technology, or like talk. Yeah, but it's this ability to talk to an artificial intelligence, like a talk to a robot is what you would, was that's what I would describe it as a kid or something. Like if you could just have I used to have like robots like toy robots, and I would just dream like what if I could start talking to it and it would like understand me and we could like have a conversation and we could be like good friends or whatever, like some stuff like that. That's my dreams as kids, right? And now that's actually becoming a reality. It's weird, man. It's crazy. And the other thing is that we have the internet with unlimited fucking information. There's so much information on the internet. We are, talk about being privileged and being sort of spoiled a little bit by it. Like people from past past millennia or whatever, centuries, a couple hundred years ago, or not even, right? It's like, bro, 50 years ago we didn't have this. But 50 before the internet, knowledge was just so goddamn limited, man. It was so limited, and even if you had access to books and stuff, it would just be such a cumbersome process to locate information about stuff, and it would be outdated a bunch of Today we have so much information, but it's also hard to really process all that information with our still biologically limited brains. But now in come these artificial super fucking intelligences who can scour through the whole internet, or they have already done that, been trained on the internet. They scour through the whole goddamn thing and use their logic and their superpower, silicon processors to compile that down and navigate the whole thing. And then you can just talk to an artificial intelligence like it's your teacher at school. But it's not a teacher at school that knows about English or that knows about history or that knows about math. It's a teacher that knows about everything, And there's still limits and there's still, kind of sketchy things about them. The ChatGPT being programmed to kind of lie sometimes or like hide some of the truth and be politically correct, stuff like that as well, which sucks. But just the concept, and it definitely is possible today, which is important to note, that you can now speak to the smartest person in the world instantly, free, and you can just keep talking to him, and it can teach you about it. Like, it's crazy. That's crazy. I think sometimes we forget how crazy it is. And I mean, a lot of my the people in my sphere, my friends or whatever I meet, and they have you tried ChatGPT? I ask my question because I'm very invested in stuff like that, and a lot of people haven't even tried it, or maybe they tried a little bit, and that's fine. We got different interests and stuff like that. But I just feel like it's really, this is a monumental change in the way we're gonna be humans, and this is just the very first beginning of it. So if you're not that impressed yet, like, you have to be at least a little bit impressed. I feel like the majority of people, in this knowing about this are impressed and also a bit scared. And this is like the early beginnings of this actually cracking through and becoming something. It's been in the works for years, but it's now when it's really like, taking off. And we know how technological evolution is exponential. And my take on it often, and I don't hear a lot of people talk about, is that with AI, it's I feel like it's not been talked enough about it. I feel like the potential with AI making the evolution of even AI, but also other things, even more exponential, because we now get the powers of AI to enhance the process of evolution. If you get what I'm saying, like, we have our brains now. We have this evolution of silicon or computer or cars or whatever going up, and we have some certain exponential rise. But we're still limited by our, the talent of the world, our brains, which are somewhat limited and stuff like that. But now if we get super AI computers who can come in and help us co-pilot the engineers and the inventors and stuff like that, I think we can super speed this process potentially, which is also something you have to be careful with, so you don't make it do some fuck shit. But I just feel like that's like a crazy concept. So if you before this AI really came to, you maybe think, okay, so let's say when are cars going to be self-driving, or when are we going to have like everybody walking around with AR glasses just as slim as normal glasses and just kind of sci-fi future stuff, flying cars even or whatever. And then you say, all right, well, with the graph of evolution we've seen through history, and now let's say maybe it's going to be like 10, 20, 30, 40 years in the future, we're going to get that with, like, judging from the past evolution of the technology. That's what you would normally do. But now with the advent of AI, it's like, I feel like you could I feel like you could almost argue that there's a potential for the AI making it so that those 50 years suddenly become 5 years, because we now have the power of AI, and the power of AI making even better AI with the power of AI. You know what I'm saying? This like the ball starts rolling, snowball effect, and then all of a sudden it's just like, it goes straight up to the heavens, and we'll have self-driving cars next week type of thing. And that's a bit of an exaggeration, but you know what I'm saying. I feel like that's highly interesting, and maybe there are some fundamental things that I don't understand that makes this theory I got going on right here not that realistic in reality. Sorry. I don't know. I just feel like, I've been thinking about it. I was just like, that's interesting. That's exciting. I feel like that's almost the most exciting thing about this whole thing. The potential for potential. Oh yeah. Another thing I just want to quickly touch on in regards to AI is Elon Musk, the man again. Well, I mentioned before the whole ChatGPT sort of censoring, or the team behind ChatGPT sort of censoring it, which is terrible in my opinion. Hell no. The internet is already censored, so it's not like it's different from that. I heard someone recently, maybe it was even Elon Musk again, but talk about how it's very easy for a company like Google to censor stuff without really making it look like they censor stuff. Imagine if they just take a certain article of something and put it on page 2 of Google. Just put it to page 2. Just move it just a little bit down. That could easily be explained with algorithms or whatever. But it could also just be placed right there. And we all know we never go to page 2, or like very, very rarely. Very rarely. So easily it's just poof, gone when you put it to page 2, which is interesting. But anyways, censoring always sucks. We want the truth, man. We want the goddamn truth. All right. I think most people can agree with this. I hope most people can agree with this. So, hold on. Cheers. I hope I gotta get more used to looking at the camera. I keep either looking away from you guys or on myself. So just you can hear my voice at least. I hope it's good. Censoring, but just recently, a week or two ago, Elon Musk launched XAI. He likes the word, the letter X. He likes that one. But anyways, whatever. It's basically, it's very new, so we don't know a lot about it. But I was listening to a Twitter or X space about it, and it was really interesting to just hear him talk about the vision and the idea with creating XAI. Because for those who might not know, Elon Musk was one of the founders of ChatGPT, or OpenAI, who are the creators of ChatGPT, and now he's not there anymore, and it's become and it was open source. That was the idea of it, to make AI that's safe because it's open source, and now it's closed source and it's making money and it's censoring stuff, and it's just bullshit. And he's not part of it anymore. He got kicked out or some stuff, disagreements in the board or whatever. But now he's gonna build a new one. Fuck it, let's build a new one, and then keep the tight grip on that motherfucker. So XAI, which is what it's called, right? Let me just check to be motherfucking sure. XAI, yes, that is what it is. So it's very new, just launched, but he is trying to, collect talent and make an AI company that can do all kinds of different things, anything from language models to image generators to video, whatever, all kinds of things. But where the priority is to make it, again, transparent and open source, and make it truth-seeking. That's what he's explained it as, which is really, really cool, in my opinion. A truth-seeking AI. Because again, you can never have objective, complete truth or something. There is just too many variables of things to absolutely have certainty of that. But you can have an AI that is programmed to seek truth as much as goddamn possible, and put all the fucking brain powers into seeking truth, which is a huge W in my opinion. So yeah, that's really cool. There's not a lot of information on it still, as I said, but really cool on the AI front. So I'm really looking forward to following that along, and I'll be talking on that if I do more of these tech talks. So cool. All right, so last thing I want to talk about is the Apple Vision Pro, the headset. Just quickly, again, because it's not even out yet and stuff like that. But I assume most of you watching or know something about tech and the existence of AR and VR headsets already. Augmented reality and virtual reality. The technology is out. Meta, Facebook has Oculus, which are leading, at least until now. They might fall behind when Apple gets into the market, but they're still doing different things. Gaming and stuff like that. Apple are not doing that. But interesting. It's something I want to talk about in the future more when you hear a little bit more about it. But it's very, when Apple does something, you have to pay attention. It's interesting. It doesn't just fly under the radar. Now this thing is hella expensive, and it's only coming out limited areas of the world in a year. And being so expensive is not very, available to the masses. And also, it's still early technology. It's highly impressive technology, but it's also still bulky, heavy. It's got like a tether with a battery bank to keep power, and only for 2 hours. And it's cumbersome and stuff like that. It's early. It's early. It's surprising that they release it in this early state. Being Apple, it would make more sense for them to wait. Your logic would tell you, but technology is moving quick, and people are hungering for new stuff. And I think they just said, well, fuck it. It's good enough for our, minimum requirement standards. Let's push that motherfucker out, and let's release it at a developer event first, and let's just cater it towards enthusiasts and stuff that are a little bit more sort of overbearing with technology being new and a little bit experimental and stuff like that, which is not very often you hear Eric experimental and Apple together. But anyways, so but what's interesting is the future about of Apple and the Vision Pro and the AR headsets coming from Apple, and how this is really the newest iPhone moment from Apple. Last time it was the AirPods, I think, if I'm not mistaken. It's really interesting, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do with it in the future. I imagine a future where they're going to just keep improving this one, and the same as we got from an iPhone 3 looking like this to the phones we got today. That's a pretty substantial upgrade, especially if you look under the hood also a little bit of stuff like that, and how it has changed the world and everything, for good or for worse. Apple is definitely the company in the world that has the most potential to create that future, and where we have AR glasses on our faces that are very slim and slender, just like normal glasses, putting a digital layer over everything. You can have floating screens everywhere. You can see information about stuff. You go into the airport, it's only your flight time that's on the screen. All those things. You go into a grocery store, you want to find something, it just points you to the thing, or you look at the wall of different groceries and it tells you information about them. You can click on them, and you can, all that stuff. Crazy stuff. Future stuff. Sci-fi stuff. Amazing. It's going to be a while before we're there, I think. But before Apple, walked into this, and we had the Oculus and stuff like that doing it, I definitely felt like, okay, this is going to be a while. It might even die. People are talking about AI will die. Not AI, but AR, VR headset will kind of die. They're still so far from being all that stuff. But now, as Apple, the company that only does something when it is ready and it's gonna be done type of thing, they now are going to do it. Highly exciting. Very much looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with that. Very much looking forward to try it as well. It's not going to release in my country, unfortunately, but it's at a certain point I will probably be able to try it. It's going to be very interesting. Very interesting. I think that wraps it up actually for today. For today's topics, I think it went well. This is new for me. Freestyled it. Talked off the top of my head. I hope you liked it. The idea is for this to be more in-depth, more off the top of my head. I'm trying to keep it focused and not speak too slow, so you're gonna fall asleep and stuff like that. Or maybe you want to fall asleep to this. That's also okay. You have my approval of that, or allow it. I don't know the word. Cool. But yeah, fun. I'm gonna collect some subjects for next time, and I'm gonna try to do this again. It's fun. I like it. And obviously, I hope this type of thing could turn into a little community, a little something where we tune in, we talk, we discuss in the comments, maybe even do it live sometime. Who knows? Talk about interesting tech stuff. I give my opinions. If you care to listen to them, do it. If you don't. It's a free world. I think that's it. I'm signing off. Have a nice day.